everyone, staff writer Avery Coffey here with MovieJawn, and I'm so excited to present my interview with Rebekah Kennedy, actress of Traumatika. She plays Abigail in this film about a young boy who believes his young mother has been possessed by a demon, and so you shall see what happens from there. It is a movie of goo, practical effects, boils. It is very, very fun to watch, and it was even more fun to interview Rebekah. So without further ado, I will stop talking and let the interview commence. I am Avery Coffey. I'm representing MovieJawn today. I first wanted to start, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about your character, Abigail, in the upcoming horror movie, Traumatika.
Yeah, so like you said, I play Abigail, and the story is, the premise is basically about a boy named Mikey who starts to feel like his night terrors are becoming reality when he feels like his mother may be possessed. And I play Abigail, who is his mother. And without giving too much away, without giving too much spoilers, um, I play a character that when you meet her at the very beginning of the story, she is in the worst place in her life. She's literal hell. And then I love her because you find out why she's the way she is as the movie goes on. You figure out why she's doing what she's doing. And maybe at the end, you feel a little sympathy for her, perhaps. I hope the audience walks away not sure how they feel about her because,
Mm-hmm.
you're introduced to this evil woman and there's more than meets the eye. And that's one thing I loved about the script, one thing I loved about her, and the challenge I found in playing her was playing the juxtaposition between both sides and finding all the layers and complexities because nobody is just one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no villain is the villain in their own story. They're the hero in their own story. They're doing what they must do to survive, to protect their family,
Yeah.
in order to, keep going. So that's a little bit about my character in the movie.
And we love a redemption arc, especially as it pertains to a female protagonist. Are you typically drawn to darker roles?
I am. I feel like my life is, knock on wood, fairly normal and kind of boring in the best possible way. That's not a knock on my life, but I got into acting because I wanted to do things that were different. I like playing things that are far away from me, experiences that I have to find deep within a character that is like her that would seem so far away from me, yet finding what is similar in both of us
Mm.
was always really fascinating and challenging. And I feel like every time I do a role like this, I grow as a person and as an actor, and I find things I never thought I could do, which is really exciting as well, because
Yeah.
you don't really know until you try, like, is this going to work? And the more scared I am about a role, the more I'm like, okay, I have to do it because that means that I'm going to grow in some way. I remember when I booked SVU, Law and Order SVU, I was so excited, and then I went, "Oh no, now I have to do it. Now I have to go and do the role," and that's terrifying. But that's the best feeling because then we don't stay stagnant, we don't stay comfortable, we don't stay in our comfort zone. We're forced to continue to take risks, and I love that.
How do you navigate these darker characterizations of the roles that you take on? I mean, on a personal level, as it pertains to mental health, but also as an actor and as a professional and developing that character further.
Yeah, so like I said, I always find what I can relate first. That's my
Hmm.
way in. I have to personalize it. I have to make it personal to me. So for Abigail, for instance, for the movie, obviously I can't relate to her situation and what's happening. Um, but I can relate to feeling lost and lonely and like nobody sees you and that, maybe you could disappear and no one would notice. You
Mm.
I think a lot of us can relate to that in some points of our life. And so I find my way that in that way first. And then I look at what's different, of course, in the situation and what's happening in the movie and what's happening in the scene and, get, layer it all in. But first I
Hmm.
have to do that, which makes it, interesting when the movie is over or the show is over because I've always put a part of your soul into it. So
Hmm.
then leaving it is a little bit harder. But that's okay because you're making hopefully the best performance you can make out of it. And, For me, I have a little tradition at the end of the day that when I'm wrapped, that I kind of say goodbye to her. I thank her for
Mm.
what she taught me as a human and as an actor, and I kind of put her away, and that I'm safe now and I can move on. So that's kind of what I do mentally for my mental health,
Yeah.
going to these places often because it is draining physically. I mean, our minds know that it's fake, but our bodies don't know. And oftentimes I'll find my body like trying to protect itself because it doesn't know the difference between reality
Mm.
and play acting. So that's always interesting, navigating that.
Do you enjoy the combat that comes with the roles that you usually play?
I do. I do. It sounds weird. I can't say, oh, I had so much fun filming Traumatica because there's so many dark scenes. I mean, I think
Yeah.
the scene that was fun was like the dancing, or, it's like there's very few
Mhm.
scenes that are necessarily fun to film. But um there's something it's hard to describe. There's something about going there that at the end of the day is really rewarding. And also
Mhm.
I know that people watching these darker characters, whether it be this movie or SVU or Criminal Minds or whatever it may be, there's going to be people watching that relate to these characters in some way, that have had what's happening to me happen to them.
Mm.
Always want to be respectful of that. I always keep that in mind because I want to do them justice as much as I can. There's also something to be said about playing roles that people can relate to, um, because it's important. It's important to
Absolutely.
bring up these topics. It's important to explore these roles in maybe a way that would never be able to be explored in any other way. And I find that really rewarding at the end of the day.
Do you feel like your experience in theater really comes into play when it comes to the physicality with Abigail? Because
Yeah,
she was crawling on the floor. She was all over the place, but it was you sank into character so well.
thank you. Absolutely. Theater training, I highly recommend for anyone that wants to be an actor, do one play at least once in your life because, there is no take two, right?
Mm.
When you're on stage or doing the show, you mess up, someone else's messes up, you just keep going. And I feel like that's really been tremendously helpful, especially in because, the way that we've shifted in the industry and in film and TV, we're doing longer and longer scenes. I mean, you look at the studio, for instance, or many other shows and movies that are doing these oneers, that are doing these one
Mm.
long takes. And theater helps so much because, of course, if you mess up one little thing in a film, you have to start over. And so that training helps me to be able to do, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages in one take if that's what's necessary. And also, of course, independent film moves very quickly. You don't have time for days and days on one scene. You may
Right.
get 2 or 3 takes. And so being able to do full takes is really helpful as well for the editor, for the director to be able to get hopefully as much as they can within this, small time frame they can. Um, and I love theater because you have that, of course you have that instant reaction. You have that
Mhm.
thing. It took a little bit of getting used to switching to over. I haven't done a play in so long, and I would love to get back to doing it at some point. Because of course, on set, you have the people around, but you don't have that same energy and feeling from the audience
Mm.
to kind of feed off of. But yeah, I feel like it is helped tremendously be able to also just be able to focus, be able to keep my energy up, to be able to not, lose it halfway through a take if we're doing long takes. And
Yeah.
especially in a movie like Traumatica, we're doing a lot of on the day, we're trying things, we're throwing ourselves into things, we're doing things in the take. He's like, okay, try this,
Yeah.
try this. And I feel like all of that has just helped me to be able to take risks and feel free, if that makes sense as well.
What did a typical day on set look like? I particularly am interested to know how long you were in the makeup chair for, because there are a mix of digital effects and practical effects, which I am a big fan of.
Yeah.
So, can you speak to your experience on set for Traumatica?
Yeah, so the makeup took about an hour and a half to 2 hours every day.
Mm.
Shout out to KO who did our makeup. She also did the makeup for me in Two Witches at the end of the scene when I was burned at the end of the movie. She's just incredible. I mean, every boil she individually places. It's not like a mask that goes on.
Hmm.
Which means every day she has to match what she did the day before, and she is just tremendously patient and kind. And a lot of times it's just her and I working. And it's an interesting process because film and TV is all about hurry up and wait, right?
Hmm.
But for this, you know you're going to have the hour and a half, so you can kind of sink into the makeup chair. I can start to think about the day that I'm going to have, the scenes that I'm
Mm.
doing. I can start kind of going into that, start filtering into the place that I need to be. And versus like, okay, you're ready. Okay, go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And
Yeah.
have the chance to like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Um, so that's really wonderful. And then, for the especially hard days, Pierre, the director, and Max, the producer, they just create such a warm, safe, supportive,
Mm.
encouraging environment where I feel so safe to take risks, especially like the pregnancy scene was especially
Mm.
difficult to shoot. Of course, the scenes with my father were especially difficult as well. And they create really a quiet, kind of calming set where I can walk on
Yeah.
set. I always say if you can't find me, I'm muttering somewhere in the corner, getting into character, kind of let me know when they're ready. I step onto set. They tell me to take my time and let them know when I'm ready, and I, give them the thumbs up, and then we go. And they know it's going to be hard, so there's just a quiet respect that I so love so much.
And you did Two Witches with them as well. So is that part of the reason why you were enticed to do Traumatica as well, was just because of the environment that they created?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I will, as long as they'll have me, I'll follow them to whatever they do because I think they're just genius. And, Pierre creates on screens, creates such visually crazy, interesting, long-lasting images that you hopefully can't get out of your mind. And I trust him in that, and he trusts me, and I
Mhm.
trust that he's going to make me look good in the worst way possible. Not in the pretty way, but in the way that I should look. And he just is
Yes.
a master of angles and the together, I think we're able to just create something really interesting and unique, and hopefully like people, won't forget.
So, speaking of your IMDb earlier, I did mention some trivia.
Yeah.
And so I read that you're a horror fan, huge horror fan, and
Yes.
that is my niche. That is why we're here talking today. So, are you typically drawn to roles within the horror genre?
It's funny because like I said, like you said, I'm a huge horror fan. I started watching horror when I was 11. The It miniseries was my first
Mm.
first movie, and then I loved it, and I haven't stopped watching it since. I'll watch anything, good or bad, because I just love to see how people create stuff. And like you said, through practical or even CG now, it's like it's so
Hmm.
interesting after being on a set, figuring out even my own set. I'm like, how did they do that? Because
Yeah.
like I was there in the scene, but I'm like, oh, they created something I didn't even, like
Hmm.
how they made that so much scarier or whatever, or even scenes I'm not in. I'm like, how did you do that, Pierre? Um, so I didn't start out thinking, oh, I'm gonna do horror. Like when I started acting, but it's funny because even before I started doing film and TV and I was doing theater, I was booking a lot of darker things. Like my very first play, I played a ghost that lived in this haunted house that these kids created.
Mm.
And so it was like I was like 15, and even back then it was like I didn't realize what was going to happen, where my career was going to go. But there were signs. And like another play I did was called Slasher, where I was the younger sister to this older girl that was, doing a slasher movie. So it was like, but then her own family life was so chaotic because her mom was,
Hmm.
I was, so I didn't realize, going in, but there were signs there. But as I started auditioning, that's kind of what I started booking at first. I'm petite and pale and think I look, I guess, kind of ethereal, and I look like maybe someone that would look good with blood on them. I don't know. And so, once you kind of start to do them, other people are like, oh, she might be interested in my movie. And so then you start to kind of just, do more and more, but I love it. I'm so thankful to be in this, to be doing what I'm doing. I've done all kinds of subgenres, which I love. I've gotten to do, creature movies. I've gotten to do play a witch. I've gotten to, do the more supernatural, and they're all really fascinating and different. And no matter what you're doing, even if it's in within the horror genre, it's not the same. It's never the same
Mhm.
experience. It's never the same story. You can do so much in it. So I think no matter where my career goes, I will always be coming back and doing these.
And I think when you find someone who's willing to be covered in blood, what more could you want out of an actor? And that's my ultimate goal. I'm not even an actor, but give me blood and I want to be covered in it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm sure we can make that happen at some point in your life.
I
Yes.
hope so. I feel like you would be a great vampire. I think I need to see you in a
Thank-
vampire movie. I did read somewhere that you auditioned to be in Twilight New Moon.
I did. Yeah, I did not book that,
Okay.
but and I nor should I.
There's
But back then I had done nothing. It was like crazy to think I even had a chance.
no, no, but there's a vampire flick in your future somewhere. I just feel it in my bones.
I would ask.
Um,
I'm gonna put that out there. If anyone is listening or watching that like is doing a vampire movie, please call me because I would absolutely love to do that. I feel like I
yes.
like, on like attacking on somebody, let me in. I loved that movie. Let the right,
Yeah.
as well. So from your lips, let's make it happen.
Yes, sending that energy out. What is a horror movie that you wish you could watch for the first time over again?
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, probably The Sixth Sense. I mean, that's one of
Mm,
my favorite horror movies of all time. So I feel
yeah.
like I remember sitting in the theater watching that movie. And my dad is really great at guessing the end of movies. Like he always knows the twist. And that one he didn't even see coming. And so
Wow.
that was huge. And I just remember all of us going, what? Like it's been all along, but how did we not see? And just that
Yeah.
feeling, especially just that movie is just so brilliant. With, it's a drama with horror elements.
Yeah.
It is about two characters that just are trying to find connection. And I love that so much because that was the first time I watched not the first time, of course, but like I was young when it came out.
Mhm.
So of course there was The Exorcist before that, and The Shining, and Rosemary's Baby, and a lot of other movies as well. But where I really went like, wow, look what you can do within this genre. It doesn't have to just be, kids running around. Well, there is a place for
Mhm.
that, and I appreciate that. It can go a lot deeper. And as an actor, that's, what I want to do and strive to do, and I'm looking for. So it was really to be in a if I could be in a film like that, it would just be like, with that kind of twist and just those layers, and it's beautiful.
Both Two Witches and Traumatica are two films that bend the genre of horror with their dramatic elements, with their supernatural elements. And it's like you were saying earlier, it really allows you to explore those hard hitting topics in a way that might be a little bit more digestible.
Right.
Um, and in Traumatica, you didn't get to work super closely with Sean Whalen, but your names are next to each other on the credits list, and you're in his upcoming movie that's, I guess, circulating in the film festivals now. You
Uh,
right?
which one?
Crust?
Crust.
Crust,
Yes,
yes.
yes, Crust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So what was it like as a horror fan to work with someone who has contributed so much to the genre over the years?
Oh, it's wonderful. I mean, Sean is such a collaborator. He is such a generous, kind human. I mean, him and I we work together. We're now business partners, and we now have another upcoming movie called Swipe that is in post-production. That's why I wasn't sure which of the
Oh,
talking about, but that one hopefully will be coming out next year. And he is such a joy to work with and has such a light about him, and makes the crust set was so fun. It was like we were in a summer camp for like 2 weeks. We were it was all night shoots. So everybody, you're in that space. It's a little bit
yeah,
everyone's a little bit delirious, that 3, 4 a.m. Everybody's like, all right, we're making a movie here. But he,
yes.
he kept the set light and fun, and that was just a really fun, also fun movie to be a part of. and my first like romantic lead in a film. So the way
Mm.
that he gave me that opportunity to be seen in a way that I haven't been seen yet was really really wonderful experience. And I look forward to, of course, working with him more in the future. And I was so
Yeah.
happy that he was a part of this movie, even though I didn't get to work with him directly.
Yeah, he had, a slim part, but still a movie that Sean Whalen is in, he's going to stand out
Yes,
regardless.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And so for Traumatica, it premiered at film festivals in 2024, which means you shot it at least in 2023 or well before that. So now that it's actually being released, that wide release, people are going to get to see it. How is it having to, I guess, remember everything and kind of like go back to that time?
Yeah, that's a great question. I went back and yeah, it was 2023 when we shot it. And so, people don't understand sometimes that indie movies take a while to come out.
Mhm.
Because, oftentimes you do, like you said, you play the festivals that are a certain time of the year, especially for horror films. So
Right.
you're timing them with that. And then, so I saw that for the first time last August, literally a year
Oh.
ago, we were in London at Fright Fest seeing it for the first time. And it's finally, now coming out. So yeah, I'm looking back at pictures and videos and like, sometimes people ask me questions. I'm like, oh yeah, oh, yeah, how was that? That's right. And it's really fun to reminisce with the with Pierre and the cast. And it was funny, we were the scene, you know what I'm talking about, the scene with the black goo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh on the day he was like, okay, I know this is gonna suck. I mean, spoiler, it's chocolate syrup. So it wasn't like I was, actually in like this weird stuff. But
Yeah.
on the day he was like, okay, this is gonna suck. I know it's going into your mouth, it's all over your hair. But
Hmm.
just hang in with me. And I was like, all right, I trust you. We're gonna, we got this. No worries. We do this, we do it. I come home. My husband is like, why do you smell like chocolate? And I'm like, you'll just have to see. And then when all the press started coming out and the trailer started, circulating and people were posting photos and using thumbnails, and a lot of the thumbnail is people have used is my face with the black stuff. And he goes, see, it was so worth it. It was so worth it. I'm like, you're right. It was. And I will always, I know I trust him. I know that he's not going to steer me wrong. And so it's fun
Yes.
looking it back at those um, memories. There wasn't a lot of laughs on set, I will admit, because
Mm.
making the movie was, at least my part,
Mhm.
was not, there was nothing that was like necessarily fun, right? So, because all
Yeah.
of my scenes were very dark, but that was the one day that Sean O'Brien, when he's doing the foot, try not to give anything away. Um, God bless him. It was like one of the last shots of our day, and he just went for it. That God bless him. And there's a great video that I can't wait to post of us just watching him and then going to us, and we're just like trying not to laugh because not that he was like because he was just going for it, and it was so wonderful to watch. And also the like we had been shooting for 12 hours, and so you have that, the
Wow.
giggles, and that was a fun day because he just goes ball to ball.
Yeah, I was wondering how that was.
It's
Because
not my foot, it's a fake
oh,
foot. There was
and
a point where when they brought the foot in initially, it was a little too pink, and
oh,
we were trying to get it to look like a real foot. And there was
yeah.
a moment, just a brief moment, where I went, all right, if you can't get it to work, I'll do it. But it's less about me and more about Sean having to
Mm.
that to a real foot. Because it's like it's not gonna hurt me. It's more sucks for him.
Yes. And, I think you're willing to do what you need for the project, for the art. That's just where your passion lies. How I'm wondering though, for the chocolate syrup, did you smell like chocolate for a while, or was it very just like one day and you didn't have to think about it anymore?
Yeah, no, after I showered, I was good.
Okay.
And showered when I came home. I mean, she got it off as much as she could, but I couldn't shower. So I showered when I got home. But when I first walked in, he was like, "What is happening?"
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory walked through the door.
Right, because I
Wow.
still had all of the like, the remnants of it, and my hair was all matted
Hmm.
back. And he's like, "What movie are you making?" And I'm like, "You're just gonna have to wait and see."
You can't know right now.
Yeah, I don't
That's
tell him a lot when I'm making stuff. He sees a lot of it for the first time on screen. So
wow. So a surprise element for him.
yes,
I
yes, he doesn't
support
like to know
that.
a lot. Yeah, he likes to be surprised. He doesn't like to know a lot.
Ugh, yeah. I always enjoy learning the behind the scenes of certain special effects where like food is involved.
Mhm.
Bring Her Back that just came out, for example, the table eating scene is wafers, chocolate wafers. And I'm like, you would have no idea. Same with even the chocolate syrup. It's happening and you're like,
Yeah,
oh gosh, why can I feel it on
yeah.
myself?
Right, right. It works so well. It's so crazy how you're like something simple, but it
Yeah.
magic. It makes it just it works.
Mm-hmm.
They'll
Gotta
just,
love the movie magic.
yeah, they'll just like their own imaginations go and of what it is and some kind of, smelly goo thing or whatever. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so industry professionals that I've talked to usually say it takes a village as it pertains to independent film. So
Yes.
considering your assorted work with Pierre and icon Sean Whalen, how has this contributed to your career so far?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it does take a village. You can't make any movie with one person. Without one department,
Mm.
a movie is much harder um, to do. I mean, not that you can't, but it's helpful to have many hands do light work, as they say. And people's ideas. A lot of people have great ideas that see things that maybe you don't see. And that's what's great about being a collaborative art form, that it doesn't matter whose idea it is. If it's brilliant, it makes the film better. Whether it be from a grip, we joke that our funniest one of our funniest lines in Crust is our gaffer's idea. So it's like you never know where ideas are going to come from. And Two Witches going in, I had gotten the role because Christina Klebe, who plays my roommate in the movie, who's brilliant, recommended me. They had
Mm.
someone that couldn't do it last minute, and he was like, "Do you know anyone else?" And she's like, "I do, actually." And she referred me, recommended me, sent over my stuff. We talked. I read the script. I had seen his other short film he had done, and I'd seen a little bit of Two Witches, what they had done so far. And I was like, I'm in. I'm in. Let's do this. Let's
Yeah.
let's see what happens. And I'm so thankful to her for recommending me because it started a really beautiful relationship between me and them. And doing that movie opened up people see me in a different light that they hadn't seen me before. I hadn't really ever played a villain in that way. That someone that was just truly, truly kind of evil. So it was so much fun. And then this role, I wasn't actually the first choice because they initially had written it as a grandmother.
Mm.
Pierre's initial idea was for it to be a granny that was kind of running around chasing a boy, and I guess whoever they had offered it to declined. And so then he reached out to me and he said, I'm looking for an older actress. Do you have any suggestions? And I said, Let me think about it, and I'll get back to you." And then the next day, I guess they were talking, and he said, "Actually, do you want to do it?"
Mm.
So they rewrote it to to fit me. And I'm so thankful to them for that because it again opened up another way of me being seen, and getting to do things that I hadn't ever done in a film, and a way for people to see me in a different way. And the fact that it's coming to theaters is so exciting, and people are going to get to see it. And I feel like they've given me an opportunity to be seen in a really difficult industry where there's a lot of actors. And hopefully, eh, people will notice the film just because they're brilliant and they worked so hard. And I hope that people will for all of their sakes. And I'm really thankful to them for giving me this opportunity to, you know, do something different and be seen, like I said, seen in a different way. And,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know, for people to see the film. It's hard to like I don't want to say, oh, to be noticed, but
Yeah,
you're as an actor, you're just trying to make your way. You're trying to
absolutely.
get more work, and at the end of the day, I hope that this will bring me some more opportunities.
For everyone watching, listening, however you are taking in this interview, Traumatika will be out September 12th in theaters, so please make sure you catch it. If there are limited screenings, that just means you have to find a way to watch it. Support the movie, support original horror. It's so important. If you feel like there's not enough original horror out there, it's all in the indie cinema.
Right.
um,
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Rebekah, for sitting down with me to talk about your role as Abigail, to talk about your previous roles, your life as an actor. It was a pleasure to hear about your craft, and I hope it's inspired someone else who is watching and listening. And congratulations on the release of Traumatika.
Thank you so much, Avery. You're such a joy to talk to, and it's been a lovely interview, and I appreciate it so much. And like you said, I hope more theaters will be opening up as we get closer to the release. And so I hope that people will give it a chance in the theater and see it. I feel like it's a movie that's meant to be seen with other people, especially. It's
Mm,
been so fun to see it with an audience. I've seen it 3 times with an audience, and I love seeing people jump or people laugh at the right moments, and their reaction is like visceral, which is always so fun. And you can't quite get that at home. So,
right.
if people will give it a chance, that would be amazing.
Right. Yes, absolutely agree. Get to the theaters, show the demand, and support Rebekah, support Pierre, support the whole team, and support
Yes,
the theater.